Ryan Brady, how do you keep your team motivated when you're losing big early in the game?
I struggle with the question because it's almost framed in a defeatist attitude right from the start. Um, and I'm the eternal optimist. So,
So wait, let me just jump in here quickly, Brad. This I knew that you're going to be good at this question because we've had this discussion I think before. Maybe one of the biggest things that I admire about your coaching style, a positivity, but you always have teams that fight back. You can be down 20 going into the fourth quarter and you will still claw your way back and make it a game. You will never give up. So I'm sure you have some tips on how to talk to your players when you're down.
well, but more importantly, the characteristics of your team generally do mimic your coach. So if my body language when we get down is to sit down in my chair and put my hands over my head and just watch things happen, probably not going to go so well. If when things aren't going well, I'm up and into it and fighting for every possession and wanting every loose ball and trying to get every stop we can to put a small run together, I'm going to bet more often than not your guys are going to respond to that. So I think the biggest thing in any of this is I just don't ever give up. I mean, I could be down 20 with 2 minutes left, and I still coach to the end, and I want everybody to get the most out of that finish. Um, there's always something to play for. So I I just don't. I'll relay a really quick story. I was so before I coached at the collegiate level for 18 years. I was a head coach for 9 years in varsity high school. I had 1 year, my first year ever, where I coached. I was an assistant at the varsity level, and then I became head coach right away. And 27 years later, then that's where we are. So that first year as an assistant, though, I was young, enthusiastic, energetic. Um, we had a team that wasn't, we weren't very good. And in the change room before the game of a start of a tournament, playing against a team who was clearly much, much, much better than us, um, our coach gave the rah rah speech of, "Hey guys, let's see if we can keep it within 40, and that'll be, that's a win for us today." And in my mind, I've never thought that way. I thought if you turn the scoreboard on and it says 0-0, let's play. So he probably wished he hadn't, but he said, "Brian, you want to add anything before we go out?" And you might have to beat this, but I said, "F that. It's 0-0. Let's go beat them." Right? We lost by 45, but it was I just always I just always believe there's a way. So if you believe as a coach and you coach that way, I think you'll find yourself in less situations where it seems your team is unmotivated.
So what do you do though? Let's break it down. Do you set small goals like 5 minutes from now? Let's be we're down 25. Let's be down 20 in 5 minutes.
Exactly. By halftime, let's get this to 15. Hey, by the end of the third, let's get this to 10. Hey, by the under 8 timeout, let's get it under, single digits. Yeah, I would put carrots out there constantly. And sometimes it might even have to just start with let's get 3 stops in a row. Right. But yeah, you got to play games within games sometimes and compete and compete and compete. Guys, we're not looking at the scoreboard anymore. Okay, let's get 3 stops in a row. Let's go.
So if it's a game where competitively you should be pretty even with the team or better than the team, will you try different substitutions to see maybe boost the energy level with somebody off the bench, or what kind of stuff do you
Absolutely,
do?
absolutely. I've came into. We had one of the best teams I've ever coached, and we lost a heartbreaking conference semifinal 1 year, so it was going to prevent us from going to nationals. And we had a really, really good team, and then we had to play a bronze medal game the next day because our conference still had that. And I'll be honest, the guys weren't motivated to play for bronze because they thought our goal was always to win a national championship. And 4 minutes into that game, we were down, I think, 16-2. and I pulled the entire starting lineup and put in 5 guys off the bench. You got to try something different. You got to do something different, and you can't ever. If you give up, they give up. So we fought and we fought. We lost the game. It was a tough game to play and a tough game to coach. But again, I think your team's going to mimic you, and if you want them to respond and you want them to compete, then you got to show that you're competing. Don't sit down. Don't give up. Don't show bad body language. They'll do what you do.
You're also teaching life lessons as well. It's not just about basketball. Yeah.
Absolutely.